Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It's Sunday. I hope the weekend is going well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. I hope you enjoyed the game last night. If you managed over here in the UK to stay up and watch it, or over in the States or anywhere else in the world, I hope you enjoyed that game. Arsenal beating Manchester United 2-1 to continue what's been a fairly decent start to pre-season. Nice little momentum builder, winning that game. One game left of the tour now. That is against Liverpool, of course, in a few days' time over in Philadelphia. Mikel Arteta will be very, very keen, I think, to get that tour done and dusted, get back to the UK and really set his sights on the Premier League, because it's been a really decent start, I think, especially when you consider how many youngsters have been involved, the sort of chop and change nature of the team, to get that win against a decent United team yesterday, who were very, very strong in that first half. Did put on some youngsters in the second half. I think, I don't know, you look at it, probably a draw would have been a fair result. I know Manchester United and Ten Hag certainly complaining about Gabriel Jesus' goal. We've heard that before from Ten Hag, haven't we? Complaining about offside. I'm sure we're bringing that up in 9 months' time in every single press conference he's doing. But look, Arsenal may have got away with one with that goal. Probably did look a little bit offside, but a goal is a goal. It was given, and Arsenal won the game 2-1. So we'll talk about that in today's game. We'll go over the sort of big talking points from it. I'll do my player ratings from the starting 11 anyway. We'll look at what Mikel Arteta had to say on a few points afterwards as well. And I've got some reaction from you guys to share. So let's get started. Always a very good win for Arsenal. Martinelli obviously coming off the bench and scoring the winner. Arsenal having to come from behind after Rasmus Højlund's early goal had put United in front. Gabriel Jesus getting the equaliser before half-time, and then Martinelli coming off the bench. Really, really lively cameo from Gabriel Martinelli, scoring the winner with about 9 minutes to go. And it was all in all a very successful day for Arsenal, you would say, in front of a really decent crowd at the SoFi Stadium. What a stadium that is, honestly. You can see why the Cronkies have piled so much money into that ground. It is a spectacular stadium. So many Arsenal fans there yesterday, absolutely outnumbered the United fans. Put on a really good atmosphere as well for the team. And you could see they were very thankful of that after the game. And Mikel will be really happy with the test, I think, in terms of what he saw from his players, because there were difficult moments in the game. They did go behind. They did have to fight back, and they showed that character that he'll want to see from his team. And he said, look, it was a really good test for us, playing in a different stadium, different pitch conditions, 4 meters narrower and 5 meters shorter against a top opponent, and we're 1-0 down. To play this kind of context is really, really good for us to see the level and the capacity we have to adapt and win in any context. So I'm really pleased on what he said, sort of the message he said to the players afterwards. He said, look, it's a test. There are not 3 points here, but there are a lot more things on the table. And you could see that. I think both teams were the same. United competed at the highest level as well. And that's what you want. You want to get well prepared for the matches we have in the league and in the Champions League. You need to have a good understanding of where your team is as quickly as possible. The point there about the sort of pitch size so far, and I don't think SoFi is in the World Cup, is it? Or it couldn't get the final. I don't know if it's got any of the World Cup games, but it definitely couldn't get the final, I heard, because of the size of the pitch. And it's a really good point. That is very small. 4 meters narrower, 5 meters shorter. And when you go behind as well, and the team sort of tries to sit back and protect the league, and you've got even smaller amounts of space to work with, it is very, very difficult, and it does represent different challenges. So Arteta will be really happy with the way his team did fight back from the going behind. I mean, the Højlund goal was obviously, he outmuscled Aiden Heaven, who Arteta started Heaven again at centre-back alongside Timber, and he did get outmuscled for the goal. But look, he's a 17-year-old kid going up against a really powerful striker in Højlund, who's got a huge amount of tools in his armour to be a really top striker. I think Højlund is fast, he's so strong, direct when he runs it, and he was too strong for Hayden in that instance. But I thought Aiden did recover well from that. I saw Arteta afterwards praised the way he sort of responded to it as well, which was decent from Arteta, I thought. And I thought Heaven deserved a bit of credit for the way he came back. Arsenal got the equaliser. Lovely play by Ethan Nwaneri. Again, slipped in by Trossard. Brilliant ball across to Jesus. It did look like Jesus was offside. He got in front of the last defender. He turned it in anyway. That's where you want to see Jesus time and time again, in and around that 6-yard box, to be able to finish that off. I thought Jesus looked very, very sharp, and he deserved that goal, I thought. So 1-1 at half-time, and then obviously Martinelli, as I said, coming on in the second half, taking full advantage of a younger defence, shall we say, from Manchester United. He destroyed the fullback for the goal, slipped it through another defender's legs and passed Onana to get the win. And he got man of the match from the fans. Only played 20 minutes, but he just looked really lively, Martinelli. And especially when you think he's only just come back, literally had like 2 days with the squad. And he came back, and he just looked, as soon as he got on the pitch, you could see he just wanted to make an impact. He was so direct that, obviously the goal was great, but that run down the left where he crossed it and Havertz nearly got on the end of it, but the defender just put it away from the corner. It was just get the ball. And you could see Arteta was almost saying, look, at the time, he was right next to Arteta when he received the ball. And it looked like Arteta saying, just lay it off. But Martinelli was like, no. And he just went, knocked it past the fullback and went. He was so direct. And that is just what you want to see from Gabby. He looked electric. He really did. And his goal was excellent. He got himself the man of the match afterwards as well. Mikel was asked about the way he sort of hit the ground running. So that's the mentality of the team and the individuals. One training session and he comes in and plays at that level. That means he's not coming here just to get prepared. He's come prepared to show where he is. And that's a very different approach. And I loved it. And that's the sort of thing. You do that, you just go right to the top of Mikel Arteta's thinking when you sort of show that sort of desire, when you've clearly been away during the summer, but you've not just, put your feet up and just thought, I'll sort myself out when I get in for pre-season. You use that summer, you use your time off to make sure you stay in shape, that you're still sharp. So when you do come back for pre-season, especially when you're coming back a little bit later than everyone else, you are ready to make an impact straight away. And I thought Gabriel Martinelli showed that yesterday. There's been so much talk this summer. I've talked about it before about, the lure of someone like Nico Williams if he is available. Could Arsenal go and get him? But as I said, time and time again, you already have a player of huge potential and talent on that left-hand side in Gabriel Martinelli. He's got everything to be a top star. We saw it 2 seasons ago. Yes, last season was a little bit disappointing in terms of his end output in and around the final third. But, if you get Martinelli fit and firing and ready and on it and, really sort of dialed in, you've got a hell of a player that every single top club in Europe and the world would want on your hands. And I thought that was just that little cameo just gave me a lot of hope for the new season for Gabriel Martinelli. And his Brazilian teammate as well, Gabriel Jesus, I thought looked really, really sharp. He just looks a different player, I think, in terms of his physique, his physical capability, just everything about him at the moment. He just looks a little bit different to Gabriel Jesus, who was clearly struggling and so hampered by that knee injury throughout last season. Thought he looked really sharp yesterday. Again, maybe he was offside for the goal, but he was there in and around the 6-yard box, which is what you want to see from him. We know he likes to drop deep and combine. It's such a great strength of his, but you do still want him in that penalty area to be able to finish off chances like that. And yeah, so it's good to see him. There was obviously there was that chance when he took he won possession back and chose not to shoot. And I know I was watching, I was following on social media at the time, and lots of people were frustrated by that. And yeah, maybe he should have been sharper, maybe he should have got the shot away. But that's just one decision. You can't hold that against him. I thought overall it was a really good performance from Gabby Jesus, and I thought there were interesting comments from Arteta. He said he looks really good. He looks really sharp. He's changed a lot of things over the summer, and he's come back in top condition again. When you have that baseline, other things can be built. But without that foundation, we don't have a player, and he needs to be in that condition to get the best out of him. He's realised that, and I'm really happy with what he's shown again today. You can see by the way he looks, the way he's moving, you can see in his eyes that there's a spark there. Again, it's almost like a little bit of a message, I think, to Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, sorry, in terms of what he needs to do to be picked basically for Arsenal, because he lost his place last season to Havertz. Yes, he was struggling with a knee injury, but he lost his place to Jesus. He was fit to Havertz. Sorry, he was fit for most of it. He was around, but Havertz was the starting striker, and it almost feels like this is a little bit of a message, I think, from Arteta. And so you've got to get yourself in top condition. If you do that, you're a different player, and then you're going to be in my plans. And we've seen over the summer the work that Jesus has put in. He posted all the videos all the time of what he was doing during the summer, really trying to get in shape and making sure that he can put last season behind him. And fingers crossed at the moment, the signs are looking really, really good for Gabriel Jesus, and long may that continue, because I've said it so many times. If Arsenal have the 2022-23 season Gabriel Jesus back and ready for the start of this season, then they've got a hell of a player, because he was sensational when he first arrived for Arsenal. And if you can get back to that sort of form, then the rest of the Premier League are going to be in real trouble. Okay, player ratings wise, I'll do my player ratings. You can see my ratings here for the first half. There was lots of substitutes in the second half as well. I gave Karl Hein a 6. Maybe could have done better with Højlund's goal. I don't know. It was just one of those through his legs. So I gave him a 6. He made a good save in the first half as well to keep the score at 1-0. White and Timber, I thought, played well. I gave them a 7. Heaven, I gave a 6. Again, I thought Heaven responded well to getting out-muscled by Højlund for the goals. Zinchenko, I gave a 6. A couple of sloppy passes from Zinchenko, but this is his first real proper start of the season, so you've got to cut him some slack. Jorginho, I thought, was fairly solid in that sort of deep line playmaker role. Showed some really good sort of experience and seniority, I thought, when he went over to heaven after Højlund's goal. Nice little touch from Jorginho, I think, which is what you want to see from your senior players. Odegaard, fairly bright, as always. Ranieri, I just thought was fantastic. Obviously got the assist. He almost scored in the first half as well after some good play by Reece Nelson when the keeper saved that shot. And he just looks absolutely perfectly at home. He just does that. And Mikel was asked about him as well after the game. And Mikel was like, look, he continues to play the way he's playing, then he's going to get some minutes again against Liverpool. And that's it. It's down to the player, basically, to show me that you deserve to play. And at the moment, Ranieri is exactly doing just exactly that. Sorry, I was always so excited about Ranieri in this pre-season because I knew this was going to be his moment to really try and stake a claim, not for a starting spot, probably, but to be around the first team and get some minutes. I think he's just done exactly that. He is just showing, when you look at him, you don't look at him and think, oh, there's a kid on the pitch. You just think he's a normal senior first team player because he just looks perfectly at home in that environment. He did against Bournemouth and he did against a really strong United team in that first half as well yesterday. I thought he was excellent. I gave him an 8. I gave Trossard a 7, Nelson a 7, Jesus an 8 as well. And obviously the substitutes came on. You had Partey, Gabriel, Martinelli, Nketiah, Kivior, Vieira, Havertz, Lewis Skelly, Joshua Nichols and Salah. Saladin again. It was a really lively performance from Salah once he came on. Josh Nichols as well, really good play right at the end when I think it was Jadon Sancho, wasn't it? Got down the left and it was an injury time, and it looked like they had a bit of a space to exploit to try and get a late equaliser. And Nichols stood up to Sancho, cleanly won the ball, and fair play to him for that. Lewis Skelly came on, looked fine as well. Havertz, first appearance, obviously missed a penalty in that shootout afterwards. Had one saved, which is a surprise because Havertz is just such a brilliant penalty taker. But good to see him back on the pitch as well. Kivior, another one who missed a penalty in that shootout. But just good to see all these guys back on the pitch. Gabriel as well. Good penalty from Gabriel in the shootout. So yeah, good to see those guys back. Gabriel Martinelli, obviously the start off the bench as well. So those are my player ratings for the first half starting 11. I never really do it for the second half because it's always so disjointed with players coming on and off, and I always find it a bit hard. But obviously you could see the standout performance in that from the substitutes bench in Martinelli. Saladin I thought was really, really good, as he had been against Bournemouth as well, really putting his name up in lights a little bit on this tour as well. Right, some reaction from you guys to what you saw last night. Thank you so much for all of you to getting in touch. Here's what some of you have been saying. Andy says, after yesterday's game, I believe Martinelli demonstrated real power and speed right from the second of touching the ball. Yes, he had his struggles, but all young players do. If a new winger were to come in at Arsenal, he will have his hands full against Gabby. Also loved watching Ethan, Miles, Salah rise to the occasion. Like everyone, Oscar says Zinchenko looked way off the pace versus United. I think, unfortunately, Arsenal standards have moved beyond him. Partey was still very rusty. Still think we need an improvement in the 6. James says it's good to have Martinelli and Gabriel back. They look like they are ready to go. Absolutely, they do. Elizabeth says, hi, Charles. Just finished watching the match. Always nice to get a win over United. Thought Saladin looked good during the second half. Nice to see the youngsters get playing time and cope pretty well. Ricky says, our captain pressed like a beast tonight and was often more forward than Jesus. Martinelli was in a different class when he came on. Overall, happy with the 90. A few more here. Here's one from Rizwan. It says, hi from Atlanta, Charles. One of the youngsters who's been impressing me the past 2 season games has been Saladin. Intelligent on the ball, not afraid under pressure, and puts in some nice tackles to win the ball back. Any insights or guesses on what the plans will be for the coming season? I'm assuming a lower half PL loan might do him well, or at least a top league. I'm not sure if he'd go to a Premier League loan. My guess is he will go out on loan this summer later on, once pre-season is done and dusted and they sort of sit down and work out exactly what they're going to do with some of these youngsters. He looks like another season at under 21s level won't be great for him. He's had a few loan spells already, not really been the greatest of loan spells. So Arsenal try and, I imagine, really sort of pick a good club where he can kick on, because he's shown on this tour that he's ready for senior football and that he can make an impact. So I think he'll go out on loan. I'm not sure he'll go to a Premier League club, though. I think maybe go to a Championship, or he'll go abroad to a decent league and a decent level. But I'd be surprised if it's a Premier League loan, because I just fear if he does that, he won't play, and you need to go out and play if you're going on loan. Aaron says, Charles, with 2 or 3 preseason games passed by, Ranieri surely should have secured his spot in the first team. Looks so comfortable with the senior players. I don't know what future lies ahead of him, but surely he needs to be deployed either in an 8 role or back up for Saka. Nichols by far is the breakout youth for me at this point. Really solid defensively, needs to be tested more physically in the senior level, but along with Skelly and Heaven and possibly Salah, if he does not get loaned, these youth players need at least some time in cup games. And Gav says, good day, Charles. Had the pleasure of watching my first Arsenal match live, and I'm excited what's to come this season. I was impressed mostly by our young gunners. The quality of the game did not drop when they're on the field. Joshua Nichols is impressive at the back and will only improve the more he played. Arsenal champions 2024-25. Great that you enjoyed your first ever live Arsenal match, Gav. I know how special that must have been. Fantastic for them to get the win as well. So that's what you guys have been saying about yesterday's game. Thank you so much for all your opinions and your comments. I really do appreciate it and agree with a lot of what you guys have been saying there about the youngsters catching the eye. Wanyeri, the fact he just looks ready for the first team. So thank you very much for sharing those views. Just away from last night's game, obviously, we've seen the news. This is a picture from Fabrizio Romano, exclusive picture by Romano of Calafiori, who was on his way to Arsenal yesterday to London, obviously to do his medical ahead of his game. We saw videos of him leaving the airport in Italy as well before flying over to Luton on his private jet. And then he was going to head to Colney, do all the necessary checks. And then the idea is to get him out to America. I'm not sure exactly when he's going. He might already be there. I don't know. But it's fantastic to see him there. And there he is looking very, very happy. And why not? Because you're just about to move to the greatest club in the world. So fantastic news that deal finally is about to be confirmed, barring any issue with the medical. Touch wood, nothing like that is going to happen, and we're going to see him potentially in that game against Liverpool in a few days' time. Even if he doesn't get any minutes, I'm sure we'll see him. We'll probably get introduced to the crowd or shown on the big screens. But we've seen, if he's kept himself in good shape after the Euros, then I don't think Arteta would be too worried to throw him on for sort of 15 or 20 minutes or so against Liverpool if this transfer can get done in time and he at least gets one or maybe two training sessions with the squad under his belt before the game against Liverpool in Philadelphia. Other transfer news is just a few things. We've seen Aaron Ramsdale being linked with a potential loan move to Nottingham Forest because they can't afford Arsenal's price tag. Again, I don't think it'll be any rushed decision when it comes to Aaron Ramsdale. I think Arsenal will wait till he's back, until the tour's done, and then they'll look at what happens. I'm not surprised there's talks of loans, but ideally, if he's going to go, Arsenal would want to get a decent fee for him and get it done on a permanent basis. I'm sure he'd want that as well. So we'll wait and see what happens on Ramsdale. Emil Smith-Rowe, not much change. Mikel said after the game again yesterday that he left him out completely. Not even on the bench yesterday. He left him out completely because of what's going on behind the scenes. We know he's very, very close to Fulham, but it's not done yet as far as I'm aware. Well, it's definitely not done yet. I know that for a fact. It's not done yet, but it is close. There's just a few things left to be done between the two clubs before that one can get done. And I've seen links with Reece Nelson again and West Ham and anything like that. But at the moment, the focus obviously on getting the tour done and dusted, finishing it off well against Liverpool in a few days' time, and then coming back to London for the Leverkusen and Lyon games. And then the Premier League is just around the corner. Thank you very much for watching and listening, everyone. Appreciate your time. As always, do have a very good Sunday into your weekend, wherever you are around the world. I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Have a good one. Bye-bye.